Here's a coin from Morocco, very soon after they were no longer controlled by the French, although they still had a currency that is inspired by the French. This coin is going to be a 25 centimes. There's not a date on here, but this coin was made in 1921. Got a catalog number of KM34.1. There are 3 different versions of this coin. Version 2 has a lightning bolt as a mint mark, which appears above the word centimes in this empty space right here. Version 3 of this coin has a lightning bolt that appears here to the left of the C and a privy mark there on the other side of the S. But this is version 1 that doesn't have any privy mark or lightning bolt anywhere. So that makes this KM 34.1. This coin in this condition is worth about $1. All of the versions have about the same value to them, but if you found this one in uncirculated MS60, it would have a book value of $35. Today's videos comes from with some coins that come from a dealer I'd never seen before. I saw him at the November 2024 Tennessee State Numismatic Show in Chattanooga. I ended up buying 60 coins from him out of a 4 for $1 bin, so I spent $15 with him. And 60 coins is too long for one video, so we have this bag right here for video number 2. He also just kind of, since I spent $15 out of that bin, he gave me a couple of these 24 coin wallets that I don't particularly want. I wouldn't have paid 50 cents for, but some people have a use for these where it holds 8 rows of 3 coins, and so that was a nice thing for him to do. I think he was just trying to get rid of them, but I'm probably going to give them away in one of the things I sell on eBay. So let's jump into the next coin out of this video. Since I paid $15 for the whole lot, the coins you see in this video cost me $7.50. This is a look of a coin that was controlled by Portugal. So it's going to be a 10 centavos coin. Specifically, this one is from Mozambique with the date of 1960. It does seem like here lately Mozambique is the country that I find the most coins from of all of the Portuguese-controlled countries. Not a lot to say about this one. It does have a catalog number of KM83 and a book value of $1.50. Here is a pretty coin from one of the countries controlled by Great Britain. It looks like it's a penny, but as we flip it over, no, it's not going to be a penny. It's going to be 1/12 of a shilling. And it's from the bailiwick of Jersey, dated 1964. And I really like the condition on this coin. It's a catalog number KM21, and I guess, I don't know why Britain did this for some of their dependencies, where they didn't go with a penny and a 3 pence and a 6 pence and then a shilling. So this is 1/12 of a shilling, and that is what a British penny would also be 1/12 of a shilling, but it just seems like it's easier to say 1 penny than it says 1/12 of a shilling. So not really sure why they did that, but here we go. This specific coin catalog, KM21, this was made, Jersey didn't need to make coins every year, so this one was made in 1957 and 1964, but in 1960 they had a different version of the coin where it celebrated the 300th anniversary of the ascension of Charles II to the throne. But the Jersey coins don't stop there, because we have this one as well. It has the same portrait of Queen Elizabeth on this side. This was not the portrait that Britain used on their own coins, but this was a design that they used for the countries or the regions controlled by Britain. As we flip this one over, you might expect it to be a 3 pence, but it's actually 1/4 of a shilling, so we're still dealing with fractions on here. This one's dated 1957, so this one was made in 1957 and 1960. But the British 3 pence coins, if you can remember what their brass-colored coins looked like, they were 12-sided. They made these round in 57 and 60, but then after that they started making them 12-sided. So something else that they could at least use the same planchets later on. This one's catalog KM22. The last two coins both booked for 75 cents. If you see a coin like this, it's going to be from Iran. This one is a 20 rials. And the person featured here is Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi. The bottom there we have a date of 1353. This is not the same Arabic calendar that most Arabic countries use, so this translates to 1974 on the Gregorian calendar. Something else that we see often on Iranian coins is this symbol, which they call the Shur-o-Khorshid, which is a radiant sun and a lion holding a saber, topped by a crown. So this is a 20 rials coin, and this is their 20, a 2, and a 0. Catalog number KM1181. I picked up two of this next coin. It's going to be from Greece, and it's going to be a 5 drachma from 1930. On the right, we see that this is a phoenix rising from the flames, so kind of a neat symbolism there. Catalog number is KM71.1. What I want to point out here is what the 0.1 means. This is the common version of this coin, which was made in London. The uncommon version was made in Brussels. And so there's some leaves and some berries that go all the way around it. If you look closely, there is a dot in some of the berries, like there's a dot right there. There is, let's see, another dot in the top berry right here. If you found it with also a dot in this lower berry right here, that is the only difference between the London and the Brussels version of this coin. No dot right here means it's 0.1 made in London. If there is a dot, it's version 0.2 made in Brussels. The Brussels version is also a lot rarer. I do have it, but this coin and this version of the coin, the more common version, is worth $1. Next, we have a coin from Uruguay. This one is dated 1909. Catalog number KM20. Flip it over. This one is a 2 centésimos. There is a tiny A mint mark at the very bottom, and so you actually have to look up the year and the letter on some of these older Uruguay coins. This year, A means that it was minted in Vienna, and other years it meant Russia, and sometimes it meant Paris. But in 1909, it means Vienna. This is one of those coins that is definitely dependent on the condition. So in this condition, it's worth $1, but if you found it uncirculated, it would be worth 20. In 1992, a city that's sometimes called Seville or Sevilla celebrated Expo 92. That marked the 500th anniversary of the Christopher Columbus launch of 1492. And so Spain had their circulating commemorative 25 pesetas of 1992 to feature this. So there's kind of a neat sphere that appears on this side of the coin. This one is called the bioclimactic sphere. We flip it over and it actually says Sevilla 92 on it. And it features the Torre del Oro, which would translate to the Tower of Gold. Catalog number KM905. This coin books for $1.25. Here's a coin from Kenya in their early days when they were no longer controlled by the British, honoring the first president of Kenya, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta. This coin is going to be a 1 shilling from 1973, and we've got the shield there with a couple of lions. on the back. If you look really closely on the shield, there is a rooster with an axe, so sounds like something you don't want to mess with. This is KM14. Here's another coin I've picked up two of. This one is from Samoa. In older catalogs, it's going to call that Western Samoa. The person featured here is Tanumafili II. Has a title of Malietoa, which is essentially their word for chief. On the right, it features a taro plant. This coin is a value of 10 sen. They made these from 1974 to 2000, and in 1974 there's also a silver-proof version which is possible to find. KM15. Some of the early coins from Singapore have animals on them. We've got three out of the set right here. This one is a 10 cents coin from 1974. They're all going to look like this on the obverse, but as we flip it over, the 10 cents coin has a great crowned seahorse. All of these, of this three I'm going to show you, were made from 1967 to 1985. This one specifically was 1974 and its catalog number of KM3. But then we move up to the 20 cents. Similar view on this side, but it's 1980. And we have a swordfish. The last one was KM3, so this one is KM4. I will point out that the proof versions of some of these later years of this design had smaller years on the proof versions of the coin. Then we'll move up to the 50 cent. I really don't see this one hardly at all. This one's also going to be from 1980, and this one features a lionfish. So always love to see these when you go to the aquarium. So out of the set, the 5 cent coin features the Aninga bird. The 1 cent was not an animal, but instead showed off an apartment building with a fountain in front of it. And the $1 coin, which I've never found, features the Singapore lion on it. So we've had KM3, 4, and this one is 5. Then we're going to move to the Philippines, where this was the first circulating 1 peso coin ever since it was made out of silver by the Americans in 1912. This one dates to 1972, and it features Jose Rizal. Give me a catalog number of KM203. On the back it says Republica ng Philippines. And then we'll move on to a second coin from the Philippines. That one was replaced with this coin here, also with Jose Rizal on it. This one is catalog number KM209.2. I'll go ahead and show the BSP for the Central Bank of the Philippines mint mark right here. You can find some of these with Franklin Mint and a couple other mint marks. It even has Central Bank of the Philippines written across the bottom. At the top here, it has Ang Bagong Lipunan, which translates to the New Society. And I mentioned this is 0.2 version of the coin. Version 1 has Republica Philippines written across the banner on here. That lasted 1975 to 1978, but starting in 1979, it has Isang Bansa Isang Diwa, which translates to One Nation, One Spirit. So that's the second version, and it's based on what's written on that banner. If you find coins from Ecuador in the 1900s, their currency was the sucre. However, to try and solve some rampant inflation they had going on, they abandoned the sucre, and then in the year 2000, they switched their currency to the United States dollar, which it's pretty difficult for a country to adopt someone else's currency as their currency. However, they didn't have enough American coins to go around, so they made their own coins to supplement the American coins. They made them the same size and denomination as American coins. So this 50 centavos would be the same size as an American 50-cent piece. So you'll find all these dated in the year or año 2000. We flip it back over, and this one features President Eloy Alfaro. Catalog number is KM 108. Our next coin is from Guatemala. I picked this one up because it looks very pretty. I already had it, but this one's almost certainly an upgrade. It's dated 1967, and for any of the denominations, you have to look in your catalog to verify the subtle differences between them. This one is KM 267, and it is a 10 centavos, featuring the monolith of Quirigua. This is part of the Mayan culture. This was a quarried out of red sandstone. It was the largest freestanding monolith in the world. At least it's believed to be. So it's about 25 feet above ground and 10 feet below ground buried to hold it in place. And it was built well over a millennium, or at least several centuries ago. I forgot the exact date. It did fall over in 1917, and they were able to rebuild it, but just interesting part of culture here, and especially with this version of the coin, you can see such good details from the Mayan culture. Catalog 267. Here we have a French-controlled country. There's the design from 1948 on this aluminum coin. And it's from the island of Reunion. It's a 1 franc. Catalog number is KM 6.1. They only made 3 million of these, but I'm kind of surprised with that low mintage that how many of these I found. I probably picked up about 20 over the years. From Spain, here is a 50 pesetas from 1982 featuring King Juan Carlos I. And then here's the reverse. So there's a couple of coins in the catalog that look very similar to each other. There was an original version of this coin when Juan Carlos became the king in 1975 that had the date on 1975, and that was when Spain on their coins had the tradition of minting a tiny little star on it that had the actual date, but only had the first year of the coin on the date. So all of those versions will say 1975 here, and then there would be a star somewhere else on the coin that had a tiny little actual date of the coin on it. They stopped making that coin in 1979. Then 1980 to 82, they had a World Cup commemorative coin. And then starting in 82 to 1984, they had this new version where they put the actual date underneath the king's portrait. So this catalog is catalog 825, but the older version that I was talking about was catalog KM 809. This 2 aura coin from Iceland is going to be the most valuable coin that we show in this video. This one has a book value of $3.50. Part of that is based on its age from 1940, where we have a monogram of Christian X with the crown on top of it. And I had this coin, but this one's probably the best condition version of the coin that I've had, especially when you can see all the details on the crown at the top. This one is catalog KM 6.2. Version 2 of this coin was made in London. Version 1 of the coin has a heart on this side along with Mintmaster initials. That's the rarer version with the heart mint mark for Denmark. That coin in this condition would be worth $20. Next, we're going to move to Portugal, where we have this 100 escudos from 1991. Featuring Pedro Nunez, who was a 16th century mathematician and cosmographer. Catalog number on this one is KM 645.1. And the variations on this coin, we've got reeded segments on this. So this is the version that has 5 smooth and then reeded sections. The .2 version of this had 6 sections. It wasn't particularly rarer, but they didn't make it as long that way. And by the way, 100 escudos would have turned into almost half a euro when they made the switch to the euro. So you can think what that would be worth today. Here is a coin from Hungary, made during the reign of Franz Joseph I. This specific coin was made in 1896, although this design was used from 1892 to 1915. Value of this coin is going to be a 2 filler. It has a KB mint mark on here, which stands for the mint at Cormac, Spania. Catalog number is KM 481, and this coin has a book value of $2.50. In the early 1900s, Mexico had several coins of this design with the number on top of the cent or centavo symbol. And the larger the denomination, the harder it is to find. They made a 1, 2, 5, 10, and 20 of this one. And some of them, especially the larger denominations in better shape, have some pretty good values to them. Now this 2 centavos, and let me go ahead and show you the eagle and snake side on here. They made 7 million of these in the year 1927. So this coin books for $1, but if you found it uncirculated, it would book for $22. But if you found a key date, like 3 years earlier in 1924, the uncirculated version of that one books for $450. The catalog number is 419. Here we have a 1 dirham coin from the United Arab Emirates. This coin is catalog number 6.1. The .1 is based on the size. This is the larger version of the coin that has a size of 28.5 millimeters. The reduced size of the coin changed to 24 millimeters. We flip this one over and we see an Arabic date on the right of 1409, our calendar on 1989. And we have on here a dalla, which is a traditional coffee pot. Next we have a coin from India featuring or highlighting the centennial of the birth of Mahatma Gandhi, born in 1869. So this coin was produced in 1969, but that is not written on here. They also made them in 1970, but they're all made with no date of the actual day the coin was minted. This one is a 20 paisa. Catalog number is KM 42. As we flip it over here, looking in the catalog, there are 3 different varieties of this coin. When you go into Mista, there are several other versions. And I was trying to tell the difference between all the versions, and I could see differences, but I couldn't figure out which one mine was. One of the easiest ways to tell is apparently the distance between the letters and the edge of the coin on pretty much all sides. But I also saw them note that this one is a very weak strike on the right side of the Asoka pedestal. There is also a version where they had to, what they called, recut part of the Gandhi portrait on here, especially around the eyes and the mustache. Again, I looked, I couldn't tell a difference between any of those versions. This one also does not have a mint mark, which means it was made in Calcutta. Here's a coin that I usually find very well worn. This one looks like it's in pretty good shape. However, the portrait on here of President Francois Duvalier. Doesn't really have a lot of detail to it, so when we flip it over, this is where you can see the detail. How good it looks. Although the color on here looks kind of strange, and it makes me wonder if this coin was actually plated at some point, dipped in a new metal to make it look shiny again. But I must say this side has pretty good detail to it. This specific year, the coin was minted in Philadelphia. It is a 10 centimes with the catalog number of KM 63. Here we have a 10 baht coin from Thailand. Our calendar, this was made 1996. Their calendar, it's the year 2539. Catalog number is Y328.1. We flip it over. It was a 1-year commemorative, but a pretty easy coin to find, as all the coins made in 1996 had a version celebrating Rama IX's Golden Jubilee. So King Bhumibol here, known as Rama IX, had been on the throne for 50 years in 1996. And of course, he went on for a couple of decades past that. There are 2 versions of this coin. This one is the easier to find version 328.1, which was minted in Thailand, but there was also a version of this coin that was minted in Italy. The easiest way to tell, I mean, the catalog will say the small portrait and the large portrait, but the easiest way to tell is by looking at the gap between the top of the hair and the next ring on here. So instead of calling it the small portrait, I call it the large gap. So this is the version made in Thailand, but if you find one with a smaller gap, it's made in Italy. So the baht is still an active currency for Thailand. So in foreign exchange value, this is worth, in United States money, 29 cents. The last thing that we're going to show in this video is a casino token. If you're outside of the United States, you might think of places like Nevada or Atlantic City as the places of casinos, but many of the casinos in America are actually organized by what you would call the indigenous or Native American tribes from America. They are allowed to have casinos on their land pretty much wherever it is, and most places in America otherwise would not allow that. So this one comes from the Foxwoods Casino in Connecticut. Here's where you see it was a $1 gaming token. This specific Foxwoods Casino was run by the Mashantucket Pequot tribe of Connecticut. This token also has a mint mark right here. See the letters GDC, which stands for Green Duck Corporation. The only coins or tokens they ever minted were gaming tokens. They were better known for being the manufacturer of political buttons, which I point out because that's something that my dad collected over the years, so he was a political button collector. So this is something that kind of ties my hobby and his hobby together. So that was 30 coins and, well, 1 token. Part 1 of the series from this specific dealer. And since I like to add up the value of everything that we looked at, this bag came to $24.50, and I paid $7.50 for it. So again, I'm not going to be able to sell any of these for their book value, but it's always nice to have kind of a running tally. So our next video is going to be bag number 2. All right, I will catch you in that next video. Until next time, bye.